Hey everyone, happy Friday the 13th. If you're superstitious, I think a Friday is another good opportunity to get ready for the weekend. And there's been a lot of really cool things that have happened this week for me. And I really hope that you all have had a great week as well. It's just we're headed into the cooler weather here. So much has shifted, a lot has changed just in the last month alone. But for this week, I know that we're going to be doing a weekly wrap up here for you guys. And for this week, as you guys know, we launched a new podcast episode on Tuesday, which is called How to Get Clients for Free. And we received so much awesome feedback from all of you. Which we so appreciate. And I put out today, just this morning, a big question that just said, basically, what questions do you have for us? Because a lot of people reached out and said a lot of really positive things, but I wanted to dig deeper. Like, well, what else? What else do you guys have for us? What more? And so just a quick recap on this week's episode, we talked about the absolute worst way to market your business, the single most important strategy for landing clients for free. We talked all about how to use a book as a marketing tool, and advice for people who are new to funnels and to not be afraid of funnels because they're super awesome and powerful. And then we also talk about the sneaky way to leverage credibility for clients. So if you guys are joining us on Instagram right now, Rory has just joined me on Insta. Hi, Rory.
Hello.
Something else that I just noticed, my bad, is I gotta actually put in my external little mic here because we were going live on so many platforms. So give me just 1 second here to do that real quick. And we're good. All right.
Cool.
So awesome. So I was just explaining to everyone what this episode was all about this week. But also we received like a lot of really fun questions from everybody. So let me just go ahead and dive in to some of those right now so we can get those answered for you guys. And the very first one, I'm actually going to let Rory answer this. So the very first one is how to leverage my media features. So when you're featured in the media without running paid ads.
Okay.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, there's actually a lot of ways to leverage your media features outside of doing ads. So the first one is you've got to make sure that you're using it on your website so that people can
Mhm.
actually see it when they go to your website. Other areas you want to use it is actually have it written into your bio. So when you're putting it on your website, you're going to use images of the logos. But in a bio, you actually just can use the names of where you've been featured, and you want to make sure that that's prominent and near the top of your bio, so that people know that you are know that you've been featured in those media placements. Now, other things you can do, you can put it on your business card.
Oh, that's a
You
big
know,
one. Oh my
yeah.
gosh, yes. When you shared that with me a few years ago, it's like, duh. It's kind of a no-brainer, like any of your marketing materials. Yeah.
Yeah, but and then it just depends, where you're marketing. So your social media profiles,
Mhm.
you have a couple of opportunities to utilize it there. So in the written description of your profile of who you are, your about section, you can put what you've been featured on in there. But also you can use the logos in the banners that you create for those profiles.
Yeah.
And sometimes we've even put them in with our photos of our profile photos and
Sure.
done that as well. So there's lots of ways to utilize it without having to actually go and spend money on advertising, though, that you've been featured in those media platforms. But if you're going to do the advertising side of it, one of the ways to make it cost effective is actually just to use it as retargeting ads. So what that means is that when someone goes to your website, then you can create ads that show that you've been featured, and they're a lot cheaper than running to cold traffic. So because they're a
Mhm.
warm audience, you end up spending pennies on the dollar compared to
Yeah.
cold traffic. So
Yep, 100%. The
yeah,
the the key to online marketing success with online ads via social media truly is ad retargeting. It is so, so powerful. It's so cost effective. So I hope that answers your question. And
Yeah.
again, we only have so much time to be on this live with you guys today. So I'm sure we'll go into these topics deeper as they come up. But let's move on to the second question. And again, Rory, another question for you. In your opinion, why are ads more expensive than ever before in
Okay.
today's world?
I guess that ties into what we were just talking about.
Yeah, it does. It does.
So, the there's a couple reasons for it. The biggest one is that there's just much more competition these days. So you look at it like that, 10 years ago when a lot of these ad platforms were just up and coming,
Mhm.
back in the day when you could get dollar a cent clicks, what was going on is that there was hardly anyone actually advertising on them. But now, especially since COVID's happened and everyone is moving
Mhm.
online, even
Mhm.
more so, um, then you've got all this competition that you're fighting against. And
Yep.
a lot of times it's being able to outspend your competitors is
Mhm.
how the advertising platforms work. And, we recently just had the elections in the US here. And, they were dumping billions of dollars in advertising onto social media platforms. So you can imagine how
Yeah.
much um, that disrupts the whole ecosystem of ads and makes it harder for you to leverage costs. But I'd say the absolute biggest thing is that most people don't understand how to set up their ads and their systems properly to
Hmm.
make it effective. And that's where you can easily if you don't have your system set up, you don't have your ads set up right, you don't have your targeting set, you don't have the right audiences that you're going after, you can
Mhm.
very easily spend a lot of money because all these platforms, whether it's Facebook or Google or Instagram, YouTube, they're gonna take your money
Oh,
regardless
yeah.
of if you get the
Oh,
results you're looking
yeah.
for or not.
Well, something that's also I think is an important reminder is you can set your ads to end at a certain date. And if you just forget about it and let them keep going and going and going and going, all of a sudden you'll turn around and be like, "Oh my gosh, I spent $1,000 this month or however much," right? Because it happens fast. It happens very fast if it's not targeted appropriately for your audience. Um, so yeah, thanks, Rory. Thanks for answering that. Um, Another question that we received today, which Rory and I both decided that actually is going to be turned into an episode. So if you are the person that submitted this question, thank you, because we feel like it's so important to dive deeper into this. And that question is, you guys talk about feeding the algorithm. How do you stay up to date with the latest best practices for social media? So, something I want to say about that is social media is ever changing. It's always changing. Every single week, something new comes out. If you guys aren't familiar, EdgeRank is the social media algorithm for both Facebook and Instagram that is actually that you're working for. Like anytime you post something on Instagram or Facebook, you are working against or with, depending on what you're posting, EdgeRank. So it's something Rory and I are going to dive a lot into in a future episode. So stay tuned for that because there's so many different principles that go into doing things properly, and we both Rory and I are constantly trying to stay up to date with the latest and greatest best ways to do things because it shifts so often. So our goal is to bring all of you the best that we can provide. But stay tuned because something can shift from week to week.
Yeah. So what's on the docket for next week's episode?
Next week's episode 15. Can you believe it? It's episode 15. I'm really excited for that. It is called Creating a Business by Solving a Problem. And in next week's episode, Roy and I share some pretty personal facts about ourselves and how we got started in doing business. So, yeah, you'll definitely want to stick around and check out the episode next week. We'll be releasing it next Tuesday. And we really hope you guys have a great weekend, a restful weekend as we're heading into these cooler months. I feel like that's important. Watch that Netflix, like really take the time to just decompress and do some things for yourself. Yeah, Rory, anything else for this week?
I think that's it.
All
If you have more
righty.
questions for us, then shoot them over, and we'll
Yeah,
answer them on another uh, episode like this.
sounds good. We'll love to answer them. All right, everybody. Talk to you next Wednesday.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.